cold, that's it. But I'm feeling good, and there's no better time to have a cold than now because I just competed and I need to relax and
For
just
sure. For
let my
sure.
body recuperate. And honestly, I'm really happy because I feel like this is one of the only the second time this summer where I've felt like there's a big card coming up. We've had a lot of cards this summer. We've had good fight nights, but the last time I felt really, really hyped up for a weekend was for International Fight Week, the Adesanya Cannonier card. The main event wasn't great, but the card in general was pretty damn good. I feel that way again going into this week. I honestly, the UFC always has a great card in August, so I'm really excited for this. Kamaru Usman at this point, every time he fights, it's big because he's really cementing his legacy, and for the first time in a while since the Masvidal rematch, because I wanted Usman to win that as well,
Mhm.
just to put a stamp on that. But I'm really rooting for Usman this time around. And a part of me is a little bit worried for Usman because I just get this sense from him that he seems to be really relaxed in these interviews. He has this different energy about him, and it reminds me of the energy that Tyron Woodley had going into the Usman fight when Usman dethroned Tyron Woodley. And I'm kind of noticing that. Now it's a little different because Usman's already beat Edwards and
Mhm.
he's already done this before. And it's a completely different stylistic matchup. I don't see Edwards going out there and, train wrestling Usman or
Dominated for
grappling
5
in that
rounds.
much. But at the same time, I just get this energy from Usman. It's kind of this I don't know. He's got a little bit of the smug attitude
Yeah.
that I haven't really seen on him. He's always very cocky. He's always very confident in his interviews, but for some reason he seems to. I don't see. I don't see any kind of real sense of threat in his the way that he's speaking. I don't really think that he feels in any way threatened by Leon Edwards. I know that he respects the skills. I know that he recognizes how good Leon is, and anyone in the right mind would recognize how good Leon Edwards is technically. But I get the sense that he's going into this fight, and for some reason, he thinks that there's just no way that Leon Edwards could hurt him. And I don't think he's feeling this level of danger that you would feel going into a Masvidal fight or a Burns fight or a Hamzat fight because Leon doesn't finish guys. And I'm kind of worried because I am starting to think that, maybe Leon Edwards could win this fight and maybe Kamaru is underestimating the level of danger that Leon could potentially um, possess in the octagon. So, what do you think? Do you get a similar read from that? Because last night I was listening to a lot of Kamaru Usman interviews, recent ones. I listened to one today. He's cool as a cucumber, man. He's very confident as always, but again, I don't think that he's threatened at all. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's just testament to how hard he's worked and how confident he is.
Yeah, I kind of get the same thing also. Like it seems as if like he's just not really like considering this a serious fight at all. Like he I mean, he's taking it like I'm sure like he's training seriously, but he's not like he doesn't have this intensity in his eyes, at least from
Yeah.
the interviews as of late.
It seems forced. It seems
Yeah,
like he's forcing himself to try to have that, but it's not real.
yeah, like it could be different fight week, like who knows?
Yeah.
But he just doesn't have this same intensity in his eyes as when he fought Colby, when he fought Masvidal 2 times, when he fought Burns. Like he just had this intensity in his eyes, like wanting to prove something. And I just feel like he's just kind of just like not doesn't have that, you know? Like he's not really talking about proving anything. Like what has he said about proving something? Nothing, you know?
Yeah, I feel like this is just for him. The way that he's talking about this is just to check off a box. So I got Leon Edwards out of there. That's another win on my legacy. Second win from Leon. Leon is this guy that's finally getting the shot, and I have to do what I have to do. But it's not like this serious fight. Whereas he even said in the interview that came out today on ESPN MMA with Brett Okamoto, he said that he said, and I quote, I'm not gonna lie, the Hamzat fight, of course, would get me out, would get me hyped up much more than the Leon fight. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and that's pretty natural because everyone expects that to be the fight that we all want to see. Everyone expects the guy. So, but I'm just that's
Still,
not a
that's
good
not the
sign.
mindset you want. That's not the mindset you want in a fight week against a guy who's won like 8 straight fights, like or 10 straight fights. I could one of the two. Yeah,
I mean, how are you feeling about this main event? I mean, I know that we both are leaning towards Usman, but now that we're getting closer, how do you see it going down? And what are the potential, chances that this fight is going to be a one-sided fight or a really competitive fight?
So this fight, I kind of see like I agree. I think Usman's gonna win, and I want Usman to win. I don't want because if Usman loses, he's gonna rematch with Leon, and
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. I want to see Usman versus Chimaev. I think everybody wants to see that fight. So let's get Usman. I hope Usman wins and just fights Chimaev. But anyways, in terms of this fight, I could see honestly two things. I could see Usman bringing it to decision, using some of his striking and some of his more of his wrestling, and just like pretty much just dominating Edwards for 5 rounds. Or I can also see Usman. Actually, I could see three outcomes. I could see Usman in the early, like maybe the first 3 rounds, just KOing Edwards, like just completely knocking him out, and that'll be it. And then the last outcome I could see that it's actually I think is pretty likely is that Usman just dominates for the first 4 rounds. Fifth round, Edwards is a big gas, and Usman finishes him there because Edwards doesn't have the best gas tanks in the 5 rounders. Um, so I could see like going against a guy like Usman who's gonna wrestle you. Um, he keeps the pace relatively high. So I think that could really tire Leon out, and then Usman get to finish late. But and then if Leon wins, I'm just trying to like that's how I always think of each fight. Like I always think like what are the different possible outcomes for each opponent? And I just think with Leon, it's hard to really think of an outcome like other than like being able just to, like Usman not even like trying to wrestle for 5 rounds and just striking the whole time and not getting caught. Like that's the only way I can really see him winning. I don't think he's going to be able to stop Usman's wrestling. I know his takedown defense has gotten a lot better over the years, but how many takedowns are you going to be able to stuff from a guy like Usman? Like so I just don't really see Leon winning,
Yeah.
but I mean we'll see. We'll see.
I see it differently. I don't see Kamaru Usman dominating this at all. And
Yeah.
people will say and they'll point to the fact that Leon Edwards barely scrapes by basically every opponent that he has. And that, because he was barely scraping by a Gunnar Nelson and Nate Diaz. He dominated the Nate Diaz fight, but I mean, like he wasn't knocking them all over the place.
Yeah.
But because he's barely scraping by these guys in each round, especially the RDA fight, he won every round, but it's by a small margin. You might say, okay, well, he's not going to be able to do that against Usman, but that's his style. His style is very defensively sound.
Mhm.
He stays at range. He doesn't put himself in a lot of danger, and he's a sharpshooter. Right, right. He's gonna snipe you at range. He's gonna pick you apart a little bit, but he's just gonna barely edge out the round, and he's always in safety. So I can see Edwards winning rounds against Usman because he can stay at range. I think he has the level of striking and the takedown defense needed to at least keep Usman off of him in a lot of situations. And he's very good in the clinch as well. I could see him winning convincing rounds against Usman, close rounds but convincing rounds. I think the level of striking is going to be evident because I know Usman's a great striker, but when you're up against a guy like Leon Edwards, it's different. He's not on the level of Leon Edwards. He's not as fast as Leon Edwards. He's not as technical as Leon Edwards. He's a big power puncher who's got a good jab,
Yeah.
but the way I see this going down is I think it's going to be very close. I think that Leon Edwards is going to edge out, maybe 1 or 2 rounds. But
Wow.
as the fight goes on, Leon Edwards he's showed to slow down. He can slow down in these fights. I think that Kamaru Usman is going to pick up his pace as the fight goes on. He's going to start to wrestle more because I think he's not going to find success in the striking. Now, of course, Usman could land a big shot if Edwards makes a mistake and he can put Edwards out because Edwards has gotten cracked. He's gotten dropped. He's gotten, put out. He's almost gotten finished by Nate Diaz. Usman could do the same thing, but I think Edwards is going to be on point in this one. I don't see that happening at all. I think that Usman's going to have to really, really grit down, and I think he's just going to have to break Edwards later on in the fight. I see Edwards winning at least two of the first three rounds, and I see Usman winning the last two. And the way I see it going down is I think it's going to be a really late finish from Usman, a fourth or fifth round finish, TKO on the ground, or I think Usman's going to really utilize that clinch game. He's going to use his strength, his size, and his wrestling because I don't think he's going to find success with the striking. And I think he's going to edge out a decision. So that's how I see it going down. I just think that Edwards is so good at winning rounds and taking it round by round. And I think his takedown defense is excellent. And again, Usman's a great wrestler, but he doesn't always find those takedowns. And Edwards is a big, strong guy as well. So I think it's going to be close. I'm going to pick Usman by decision. And I could see him maybe getting that late stoppage, but I just think it's going to be razor close. And I think Usman's path to victory is clinching, wrestling, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'll go with Usman by unanimous decision.
Will
Also,
you be surprised if Edwards wins by decision? Because I don't see Edwards finishing Usman.
I would. I mean, that would be kind of the only outcome for him to
Yeah,
win.
that's that. Yeah,
So, like, would I be surprised? Like, I mean, like,
I
yeah,
think that'd be a big letdown because if he does win by decision, it's going to be a boring fight. And
if he does beat Usman by decision, it's going to be convincingly. They're not going to give a guy like Edwards the belt over a guy like Usman.
convincing, but I don't think he's going to like whoop Usman.
No. I mean, you'd have to clearly win rounds to actually
Yeah,
win the fight. Because if it's close in any way, they're going to give it to Usman. So, like,
probably. Yeah,
if he
I
wins
hope
by
so too.
if he wins by decision, it's going to be like he's going to convince like the rounds are going to be clear that he wins. Like the fight, he's not probably not going to dominate because that's just not how he fights usually. But
He's also been out of the cage, Edwards, for a long time, more than a
almost
year.
like yeah, a little over since the Nate Diaz fight. I think it was in last June,
And
June
Usman
2021.
has been injured. I don't think Usman's gonna have as much striking success. He's been injured. He's broke his hand. Hopefully, he goes in with a wrestle heavy game plan. I'm gonna pick Usman, but I don't see this being a barn burner. I see this being a slower, more technical fight, and I think it's gonna be similar to the first fight. I think Usman's gonna really use his wrestling later on. He's gonna dominate the later rounds.
He
So
should. He
yeah,
should.
I think Edwards is gonna really win the first. My prediction is this: I think Edwards is gonna easily win the first round. That's my
Okay.
prediction.
Okay. I could see that. I mean, Usman is gonna have some sort of.
If you had to bet on it, if you had to say how is this gonna go down, would you either bet Usman by decision or Usman by late finish?
I would say Usman by decision if I had
Okay, yeah.
to. If I had to, I just think it's a safer bet. I like. I mean, I could look. I could see Leon winning a round or two, just because like maybe like you said, round one for sure could see that. Usman wants to fill out the striking, and I could see like Edwards just being better at it. So I could see him winning like round one and maybe like another round, like round four or round not. I don't know if it'd be round four, but round three or something. But I just think Usman by decision for sure. But I wanted to look at a couple other fights actually since we're already talking about UFC 278. So Paulo Costa versus Luke Rockhold.
Yeah, the battle of the dumbest fighters and the
Yeah,
and
dumbest, best looking
best
fighters.
looking dumbest fighters. Yeah. Yeah, man. I really want Rockhold to win. Don't get me wrong. I like Paulo Costa, but he is Brazilian. He's foreign. He doesn't really speak that English very well. Sure, he's funny, but I'm American. I can't really relate to that because if your English is really that broken, it's just harder to relate to someone. You know what I mean? So that being said, Rockhold's cocky. Rockhold is seen as a douchebag and all that, but he's just had such bad luck throughout his last three fights. Getting knocked out by Bisping, knocked out by Yoel Romero, and then knocked out by Jan Blachowicz. Uh, I want to see him succeed because I just want to see him get a win. He's been coming back. He takes nothing but tough fights, and it'd be awesome to see Luke Rockhold get his hand raised. It'd be awesome to see Luke Rockhold finally get a big win because he is just. I'm sorry, but he's just. It's a sad case. He was a champion and he's just going downhill fast. I see Paulo Costa knocking him out. I don't see Luke Rockhold winning this fight at all. Paulo Costa's too big. He's too strong. I don't think Luke Rockhold takes him down. Sure, Luke Rockhold's a monster if he gets on top of someone, but Paulo Costa,
It's too big.
Yoel Romero couldn't take him down. So he reversed a takedown from Yoel.
Yeah.
Yoel's silver medal Olympic
Yeah.
wrestler. I just think, it's a chin thing. He doesn't have the chin. Sure, Luke Rockhold could be winning this fight, but he's gonna get caught and he's gonna get put out.
Yeah.
Sadly, I want him to win really badly. I really want Luke Rockhold to win. Paulo Costa, sure he wins, whatever. I don't see Paulo Costa ever becoming champion.
No.
Not with a guy like Izzy, not with a guy like Whitaker. Maybe there are going to be some other beasts coming up in the division, Bo Nickel or some other wrestlers. He'll never be a champion. He's great. He's always going to be in the top 10. He's an excellent fighter. But if Luke Rockhold wins, sure, he's never going to be champion, but at least he gets a big win. And that's
Yeah.
all fans want to
That'll be
see.
good for his career, yeah. His legacy, I guess. And I agree with you. I think Costa's gonna win. I probably think he's gonna win in the first round or second round, honestly. Like,
I think it's gonna be a first round knockout.
yeah, he's gonna dude, I can't see Rockhold after 3 years off with chin concerns back
Has
then.
it been that long?
Yeah, it's
Jeez.
been 3 years. Yeah. So
Wow.
so he's been out for 3 years. I just can't see him like beating a guy like Costa who's coming off two straight losses. Needs a win. Like he needs it. He needs it more than I think he'd be more motivated than Luke, honestly, at this point.
He needs a win because
Um,
his last fight, he arguably put up a great performance. Sure, he missed weight, and that was a whole debacle, and that was pathetic. But he's put up a great performance against Vittori. Vittori just happens to be, the
Very
toughest dude on earth. Probably the best chin in the UFC aside from Max Holloway. But Costa, again, Rockhold is not just going in there with any other middleweight. He's going in there with one of the big punchers at middleweight, and Costa's tough. He's tough as nails. Adesanya knocked him out, but that was a
that
one-off.
was a bit different,
That
yeah.
was that was a little different. Yeah, man. I just don't see this going well for Rockhold. I think Costa, he's the kind of guy he can eat 3, 4 shots to give one, and that's you know.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Costa first round finish, just like you. Uh,
Are you? Let me ask you a question. Are you betting on these?
Personally, I'm not, but
Yeah, that's a good thing. But
you
but yeah,
you saw the segment. I
yeah,
think we should keep doing it. We're 1-0.
yeah. So let me ask you, which is your lock for the
Okay,
card?
lock of
Because
the card. Let's
I
look at
think it's
what
got to be Costa, bro.
let's put up the I'm gonna put up the odds on my screen real quick.
Yeah, let's see the
And
odds.
I wanna see
Let's look at the top three fights on the main card.
the bars. I'm gonna just I'm not gonna give any credit to any sports books till we get sponsored.
Okay.
All right, I'm pulling it up right now. All right, so let's just check this out. All right. Okay. Okay. UFC. Okay, this is not gonna give us the what is wrong? Okay, so it only says it's not giving us the odds on the finish for Costa fight, but for Usman fight, yeah, it's not giving us the odds yet.
There's got to be go on the UFC official website.
UFC official. It gives you this. Okay, it gives you the odds for the fights, but not the odds for like a finish.
Yeah, yeah, I see. Well,
Yeah.
let's see. Usman is at minus 330. I don't like that. I think it should be closer. I think Usman should be maybe a minus 200, but um
Could
Paulo
parlay it.
Costa, damn, the odds aren't available for that one.
Yeah, for that fight, it says I have it here actually. It says Costa minus 312.
I think those are good odds.
Yeah, I honestly a parlay with those two.
What about Jose Aldo and Marab?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Dude, honestly, that's a hard one to predict. I
Yeah,
hope
we're both at odds with that one because I'm picking Aldo. I think that's clear as day.
that's a
And the only reason I say that is because if Aldo was looking older and a little more washed in his recent performances, I would definitely pick Marab. But Marab gets cracked a lot in his fights. He's chinny and he's up against one of the best anti-wrestlers in UFC history. And Jose Aldo gave Piotr Jan arguably his toughest fight outside of Aljamain in the rematch, of course. But Jose Aldo competed with Piotr Jan and really, really gave him a tough fight. And then he went out and he smoked um, Rob Font.
he smoked Cheeto Vera, honestly.
He beat Cheeto Vera as well, and we see what Cheeto is doing to everyone. Cheeto's we have to talk about him as well. We'll get there, but Cheeto's finishing everyone.
Yeah. He could
Marab he fought Marais and he went to war. I mean, he lost the first round, almost got finished in the first round, and this is a chinny Marlon Moraes who's on the decline, who's not as good as he was coming up. I just think that Jose Aldo is too much of a beast. And I understand Marab is a beast, but I got to go with Jose Aldo. However, you're going with Marab.
I'm actually gonna change my pick.
You're changing the pick.
I'm changing
Okay.
the pick. I'm changing the pick. I'm going out there.
I'm gonna go with Aldo by um I'm gonna go with Aldo by decision in
Yeah,
this
I'm
one.
gonna go with Aldo by decision too. I think yeah, I all those danger. All
I'm
those
gonna look up his age. I want to see Jose Aldo's
I don't
age.
even think it, dude, honestly, like I don't even think it matters. His age just I just think that like
He's 35, and let's see how old is
dude,
Marab? Marab is 31.
I mean, Marab's definitely a lot younger, but I could see Aldo winning and then just getting a title shot right away. That's what
Yeah.
I kind of see happen.